All right, welcome back, everyone. Today we are going deep, deep into a book called Nourishing Traditions.
Ooh, yes.
It's been making some waves
It
and
has.
kind of turning conventional nutrition wisdom, on its head a little bit.
Yeah.
So we've got all our notes, highlights, everything.
Buckle up.
We're ready to go to unearth all the fascinating insights.
Yeah.
Now, this book, it basically argues that we should ditch the processed foods
Mm-hmm.
in favor of whole foods prepared
Mm.
using traditional methods.
Okay.
And they really emphasize healthy fats.
Yeah.
Yes, even saturated fats,
Uh-huh.
which is, something that we've been told for so long to avoid.
Right, right.
So this is going to be interesting.
What I find so captivating about Nourishing Traditions is how it really challenges that low-fat dogma that we've been kind of,
Yeah.
spoon-fed for decades.
Right.
And it's an argument that's really resonating with a growing body of research, too.
Right. So it's not just about eating clean.
Yeah.
It's about a whole different approach to food.
Absolutely.
Now, the author, Sally Fallon, she argues that modern dietary guidelines
Mm-hmm.
could actually be contributing to chronic diseases.
Yeah.
So this isn't just some kind of abstract concept. This directly affects, your health goals and how you're
It
approaching
impacts your daily life.
your health outcomes. Yeah.
So let's get into this fat discussion.
Okay.
Because I think this is one of the things that's
Interesting.
pretty revolutionary about the book.
Yeah,
The book actually encourages eating more saturated fat.
it does.
So what's the reasoning behind that?
Well, Fallon kind of flips the script on saturated fats, right?
Mhm.
She's arguing that they're not the villains they've been made out to be.
Mm-hmm.
And she points to the fact that these fats, like the ones you find in butter, lard, and tallow,
Yeah.
they're actually essential for brain development, for hormonal balance, and even for the absorption of certain vitamins. And you know what? This actually resonates with some recent studies that have been showing that specific saturated fats
Mm-hmm.
can actually improve cholesterol profiles.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's all about choosing the right kinds and understanding how they work.
Precisely. Nourishing Traditions really emphasizes natural, unprocessed fats over those refined and processed ones that are just so prevalent in, the
Yeah.
modern diet.
Everywhere you look, yeah.
Exactly.
So, okay, another thing that the book really dives into is fermented foods,
Yes.
which I have to say I'm fascinated by.
Yeah.
Like incorporating foods like sauerkraut and kefir and yogurt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the deal with that?
Well, this is where we really get into the gut microbiome, right?
Yeah.
You're probably aware of the link between a healthy gut and just overall well-being.
Right.
Everything from digestion to immunity.
Yeah.
And Fallon argues that fermented foods, because they're so rich in probiotics, are key players in cultivating a thriving gut ecosystem.
So it's not just about eating these foods, it's about understanding how they actually work within our bodies to
Exactly.
promote optimal health.
It's like giving our gut bacteria a helping hand,
Right, exactly.
letting them thrive.
Now, this also ties into the book's emphasis on traditional food preparation methods,
Mm-hmm.
like soaking, sprouting, and slow cooking,
Mm-hmm.
which, to some people might seem like, I don't know, culinary relics from the past,
Yeah,
but they're actually rooted in science.
they are.
So tell me a little bit more about this, like, I don't know, what I like to call culinary time travel
Yeah.
and how it actually benefits us in the modern world.
So Fallon, for instance, highlights how soaking grains overnight can neutralize phytic acid,
Okay.
which is an anti-nutrient that can block mineral absorption.
Interesting.
So it's a simple technique, but it really unlocks the full nutritional potential of, these ancient staples.
So we're not just eating for pleasure, we're actually maximizing the nutrients we're absorbing. Right. It's like a 2-for-1 deal.
It is. It is.
So if we're talking about like a Nourishing Traditions menu,
Yeah.
what does that actually look like?
Well, imagine a plate, right?
Okay.
And it's filled with high-quality animal proteins.
Okay.
So we're talking about grass-fed meats,
Mm-hmm.
pasture-raised eggs, maybe even raw dairy.
Okay.
And then you've got bone broth simmering on the stove, packed with collagen and minerals.
It sounds like a throwback, like
Always does.
going back to a time when food was both nourishing and...
Delicious, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What about grains and legumes?
Yeah.
Because those are often, staples in a lot of people's diets.
Right, right.
So where do they fit in?
Nourishing Traditions doesn't advocate for eliminating grains and legumes,
Okay.
but they really emphasize preparing them properly
All right.
to enhance their digestibility and the nutrient availability.
So it's about understanding like the nuances of these
Yes.
foods
Yeah.
and how to prepare them
Yeah.
to really maximize their benefit.
Precisely. For instance, if you soak your legumes, not only does it improve digestibility, but it also reduces, those uncomfortable side effects that some people
Oh,
experience.
that's good.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
Right.
It really is.
Now, the book also takes, a pretty critical look at the modern diet.
Yeah.
So what are some of the like main criticisms that Fallon points out?
So she points to this overemphasis on low-fat foods,
Okay.
the widespread use of processed vegetable oils,
Mhm.
and just the abundance of refined sugar and carbohydrates as kind of key contributors to, modern health problems.
And the why behind these criticisms is really important, right?
Absolutely.
It's not just about avoiding certain foods. It's about understanding what impact they have on our health.
Yes, she directly links these dietary components to things like hormonal imbalances, inflammation,
Right.
and even an increased risk of chronic diseases.
Yeah.
So it's a strong argument, and it really resonates with, a growing number of health professionals these days.
It's like connecting the dots, right?
Yeah.
It is between our dietary choices and what happens down the line.
Exactly.
And speaking of, some things that maybe raise eyebrows,
Yeah.
one of the most surprising parts of the book
Yeah.
is the discussion of raw dairy.
Yes.
So Fallon actually argues that raw milk and other unpasteurized dairy products could benefit our health
Mm.
by providing enzymes and probiotics that are, destroyed during pasteurization.
Right. They're not present in pasteurized milk.
I mean, this is pretty different from what
It's
is,
very different, we've been told.
yeah, mainstream dietary advice.
So what's your take on this, especially considering, the potential risks
Of course.
that are associated with unpasteurized dairy?
Well, it's important to acknowledge that raw milk consumption does come with inherent risks,
Mm-hmm.
as with any unpasteurized food.
Yeah.
But Fallon isn't advocating for a, blind rejection of pasteurization.
Right.
She really encourages readers to educate themselves
Mm-hmm.
about the potential benefits and the risks.
Yeah. And to make informed choices that really align with, their personal values and their health goals.
So it's not about dogma.
No,
It's about individual empowerment.
exactly.
Okay, now we talked about bone broth a little bit earlier.
We did.
I'm curious to kind of dig into that.
Yeah.
What is its role in this whole nourishing traditions framework?
So bone broth is like a nutritional powerhouse in this dietary approach.
Okay.
It's so rich in collagen, which has actually been shown to, improve sleep quality
Oh, wow.
and reduce anxiety.
Okay, so imagine sipping your way to a calmer, more rested you.
I know, right?
That's a benefit I could get behind.
Who wouldn't want that?
Right.
And that's just one example, too. Bone broth is also packed with gelatin, minerals, amino acids, all these nutrients that are often lacking in, modern diets.
It's fascinating how something that was once like such a kitchen staple
Right.
has made such a comeback.
It has. It really has.
You see it everywhere now.
Yeah, you see it on menus. You see it in stores.
It's like food trends are cyclical.
They are. They are.
And there's this enduring wisdom in these traditional food practices.
There is.
I have to say, this deep dive is already making me rethink
Yeah.
my relationship with food.
It's powerful stuff, right?
It is. It's like we've been given a roadmap to a more nourishing way of eating.
Mm-hmm.
One that's in sync with our biology and our heritage.
I think that's a great way to put it. Nourishing Traditions really challenges us to question conventional wisdom and explore a different path. One that might lead to greater health and vitality.
And that's what we're all looking for.
Right, absolutely.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break.
Okay.
And when we come back, we'll continue our deep dive into nourishing traditions.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it really does make you wonder, like, if our ancestors thrived on these diets, could we enhance our health today by adopting some of these principles?
Right, like going back to the basics.
Yeah, food for thought for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Look to the past to see how to nourish ourselves today.
And, one of the things that's really emphasized is nutrient-dense animal products.
Yes, absolutely.
Not just any animal products, but
Right, quality matters.
choosing high-quality sources.
Yeah, from animals that are raised in more humane and sustainable ways.
So it takes into account not only our health, but also the well-being of the animals and the environment.
It's a holistic approach,
Yeah, it's really interesting. So, like, thinking about implementing this,
Hmm.
I know the book has a ton of practical advice,
It does.
recipes, meal plans, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
What really stood out to you in terms of putting this into practice?
I was really impressed by the diversity of recipes in Nourishing Traditions.
Okay.
There's everything from hearty soups and stews to elegant main courses and even delectable desserts.
Oh, wow.
It just proves that embracing traditional foods doesn't have to mean sacrificing flavor or enjoyment.
Right. It's not like you're just eating, bland, boring food.
No, not at all.
It's like a culinary adventure.
Exactly, rediscovering all those flavors.
Now, we have to talk about raw dairy
Yes,
because this is one of those things that I think really diverges from mainstream advice.
it does.
So Fallon argues that raw milk can provide unique benefits with enzymes and probiotics that aren't found in pasteurized
Right.
milk. So for a lot of people, this is a pretty big shift.
Yeah, can be.
What's your perspective on this, especially given, we've always heard about the risks of unpasteurized dairy?
Right. Well, it's definitely important to acknowledge that there are inherent risks with consuming raw milk,
Sure.
like with any unpasteurized food.
Yeah.
But Fallon isn't saying to just completely ditch pasteurization.
Right.
She really encourages readers to do their research, weigh the benefits and risks, and then make an informed choice based on their own individual circumstances.
So it's about personal responsibility.
Yeah, and understanding your own risk tolerance.
So let's talk about grains and legumes. How does Nourishing Traditions handle those?
So the book doesn't advocate for eliminating them entirely,
Okay.
but it stresses the importance of preparing them properly
Gotcha.
to improve digestion and nutrient availability.
Okay.
So this includes techniques like soaking, sprouting, and fermenting.
So what's the science behind these traditional methods?
Well, take soaking grains, for example.
Mm-hmm.
This helps to neutralize phytic acid,
Okay.
which is an anti-nutrient found in grains that can prevent us from absorbing minerals properly.
Interesting. So it's like unlocking the nutrients.
Exactly. You're making them more bioavailable.
And what about legumes?
Soaking legumes is really helpful too.
Okay.
It helps break down those complex sugars that can cause, gas and bloating.
Oh, yeah.
And it reduces the levels of lectins, which can interfere with digestion.
So it's like making them more gut-friendly.
Exactly.
It's so interesting how these traditional techniques are now being backed up by science.
Yeah, it's like this ancient wisdom that we're rediscovering.
Yeah. Right. And Nourishing Traditions also critiques the modern diet.
It does.
So let's talk about that.
Okay.
What are some of Fallon's biggest concerns?
Well, she points to the overconsumption of refined carbs,
Mm-hmm.
the heavy reliance on processed vegetable oils,
Yeah.
and the widespread use of artificial sweeteners as major culprits in a lot of modern health issues.
And she links those to, like, metabolic disruptions, chronic diseases.
Exactly. It's like a domino effect.
It's all connected.
Right. Our food choices have these cascading consequences.
This deep dive is really eye-opening.
Yeah. Makes you think about food in a whole new way.
I feel like I'm looking at my diet with a magnifying glass.
It's a journey of discovery, for sure.
Now, we briefly touched on bone broth.
We did.
I'd love to dive into that a little more.
Yeah, bone broth is fascinating.
It's become this, like, nutritional superstar.
It has. It really has.
So what's the science behind all the hype?
Well, bone broth is a great source of collagen,
Okay.
and collagen is important for so much more than just our joints.
Interesting.
It also plays a crucial role in gut health.
Okay.
Research has shown that it can actually help soothe and repair the lining of the digestive tract.
So bone broth, it's like a healing food.
Yeah, very nourishing.
What about the other nutrients in bone broth?
Well, you've also got minerals like calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus, which are essential for strong bones.
Right.
And it contains glucosamine and chondroitin, which are known for supporting joint health.
So it's like good for your bones, your joints, your gut.
It's a multitasker.
This deep dive is making me realize that there's so much more to food than just calories and macros.
Absolutely. It's about understanding how food interacts with our bodies on a deeper level.
And how those interactions can impact our overall health and well-being.
Right. It's a holistic perspective.
Now, how can we actually put these principles into practice?
The great thing is you don't have to make drastic changes all at once.
Okay.
Start small. Maybe try soaking your grains or incorporating more fermented foods. Little changes can make a big difference.
It's about finding what works for you.
Exactly. And what you can sustain long term.
And that's what's so empowering about this approach.
I agree.
It's not about deprivation or rigid rules.
No, it's about making informed choices.
And taking control of your health.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's about like taking control of your own well-being, making these choices about what you eat.
being an active participant
right?
in your own health.
Exactly. And I feel like this deep dive has been, I don't know,
Eye-opening.
yeah, like it's given us this window to the past to like
Yeah.
glean all this wisdom that we can use today.
I think what's really cool is how Nourishing Traditions takes this old wisdom
Hmm.
and combines it with modern science.
Yeah.
It's not just about looking back with rose-colored glasses.
Right.
It's about, like, critically examining these old dietary practices.
Right. See what we can learn.
Yeah, exactly.
And one of the things that really resonated with me was this emphasis on nutrient density.
Mm.
It's not just about eating enough. It's about making sure every bite is packed with nutrients,
Absolutely.
like good stuff.
Yeah, Fallon really challenges this idea that all calories are created equal.
Yeah.
She says, a calorie from a whole food that's nutrient dense.
Yeah.
It's going to be metabolized differently than a calorie from a processed food.
Right. It's not just about the numbers.
Exactly. It's about quality over quantity.
Yeah. And that's going to have those downstream effects.
Yeah.
Energy levels, hormones, long-term health, like.
It all comes back to that.
Yeah.
Choosing the right foods.
Okay. So another thing that kind of stood out
Mm-hmm.
was this focus on choosing high-quality fats.
Yes.
Especially saturated fats
Yeah.
from animal sources.
It goes against a lot of what we've been told, right?
Totally, yeah.
But Fallon makes a strong argument for it.
She does.
She says these fats are essential.
Yeah.
They build our cell membranes, our hormones. They're crucial for brain function.
It's like we've been missing part of the story.
Right, like there's this whole other chapter about fat that's been ignored.
Exactly, and it's not all bad.
No, not at all. Choosing the right fats can be a key to better health.
Now, I'm sure some people listening might be a little hesitant to jump all in on Nourishing Traditions.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely a departure from what we're used to.
Yeah, it kind of challenges everything we've been taught about nutrition.
It does. It can feel a little radical.
But the good news is,
Yeah.
Fallon doesn't present this as an all-or-nothing approach.
Right.
She acknowledges that everyone's different.
Bioindividuality, yeah.
Yeah, what works for one person might not work for another.
Exactly.
So it's about finding what resonates with you.
Yeah, what feels right for your body,
Yeah.
your lifestyle.
Make gradual changes.
Sustainable changes.
Yeah, changes you can actually stick with.
That's the key.
So it's not about, being perfect.
No, it's about progress.
It's about empowering yourself to take control of your health.
Making those informed choices.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it.
It's a journey,
It is, for sure.
Nourishing Traditions is just the beginning.
It's a starting point.
Yeah, and hopefully it sparks a curiosity.
I know it has for me. Like, I want to go try some of these recipes.
Me too.
Experiment in the kitchen.
Rediscover that joy of cooking.
Exactly. So, to our listeners, I highly recommend checking out Nourishing Traditions.
Yeah, give it a read, see what speaks to you.
Explore, experiment, and,
Find what nourishes you.
exactly.
It's been a great deep dive.
Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Until next time.
We'll see you on the next one.
Thanks for tuning into Chapter 2, where we break down the best books to fuel your growth and learning. If this book caught your interest, check out the links in the description to get the audiobook at no cost. Don't miss out and support our channel while you dive deeper into these life-changing reads. See you in the next episode.